Welcome to our Reformer series. The third lot of exercises will be focusing on legs. It's very important that you keep your core engaged, you keep your back neutral on the reformers. You're going to set the springs anywhere from 3 to 5. Be aware that each spring has a different amount of strength, so adjust accordingly. I'll explain each exercise as we go and a couple of cues to focus on for each exercise. The first exercise we'll be doing pushing with heels on the foot bar. It's important that your back is neutral and pushing against the slider. Keep your knees, toes in line with each other. You're going to push all the way up and then come all the way back down. The next exercise, you'll be doing the same exercise. You're going to move from your heels to your toes. You're going to be pushing all the way up and all the way back down. It's very important that you keep your back flat and neutral, pushing your back into the sliders. You're going to keep your knees and your toes nice and straight. And you want to be making sure that you're pushing through your toes throughout the whole exercise. The next exercise are froggies. You're going to have your ankles touching each other with your knees and your toes pointing out as far as you're comfortable. You're going to push the reformer all the way up and all the way back down, ensuring you keep your back nice and flat on the reformer. The next exercise, you're going to move your feet apart and you're going to push up and down with wide heels, keeping your toes and your knees pointing outwards. The next exercise are calf raises. It's important you keep straight knees and you're going to put your toes on the foot bar. You're going to drop your heels as far down as possible and pushing all the way back up. The next exercise is the walking on the reformer. You're going to straighten one knee and drop that ankle down as low as possible as the other knee bends up. You're going to switch sides and you're going to rotate through this for the remainder of the time. Moving on from the leg series, we're going to move into a glute bridge exercise. It's important throughout this exercise that you keep your back flat, you keep your core engaged. You're going to slowly roll your spine up and you're going to roll it back down and repeat. It's very important that when you lift up initially, that the carriage doesn't move. You're going to perform 1 to 2 sets at about 10 to 15 reps per set. You're going to start with your heels on the foot pad. You're going to lift your pelvis up into the sky, making sure that the reformer does not move. Then you're going to extend your legs out. You're going to bend your knees back up. Then you're going to drop back down. Repeat this for the remainder of the time. As 100s. For this exercise, you're going to ensure your shoulders, knee and hips are at 90 degrees. You're going to keep your back flat. You're going to pull the straps towards your hips and you're going to keep your core engaged throughout. You're going to perform 2 to 3 sets at about 8 to 12 reps. So you can see here the knees and the hips are at 90 degrees. You're going to keep your back pushed into the reformer. You're going to slowly bring your arms down and back up to horizontal, and you're going to repeat this for the remainder of the time. Please ensure you keep your back flat on the reformer. The next exercise are 100s with wide arms. Again, keep your core engaged, keep your hips and knees aligned and at 90 degrees, and control the movement throughout. Keeping your back nice and flat on the reformer. You're going to perform 1 to 2 sets at 10 to 15 reps. The same setup as the dead bugs. You're going to have your knees and hips at 90 degrees. This time you're going to bring your arms out wide either side of your trunk. You're going to pull down, keeping your back nice and flat on the reformer. The next exercise are a dead bugs and a harder variation. Important to keep your back flat. You're going to pull the straps all the way down to align with your hips. You're going to keep your core engaged and you're going to alternate dropping each leg down between each rep. You're going to perform 2 to 3 sets at about 10 to 12 reps on each leg. This is the same setup as the previous 2 exercises, knees and hips 90 degrees. As you pull the straps down, you're going to extend one leg out. Repeat this on both sides for the remainder of the time, making sure you keep your back flat on the reformer throughout. Moving on to the next exercise, the knee stretches. Keep your core engaged throughout. You want to maintain a neutral spine, so you don't want to be dropping your torso down, and you also don't want to be rounding through your spine. You're going to keep your forearms on the bar and your feet on the bolsters. Please perform 1 to 2 sets at 10 to 15 reps. You're going to move the foot bar down 1 level. You're going to put your elbows onto the foot bar, making sure you keep your spine nice and neutral. Don't let your spine drop down or bend up. You're going to push your feet and your knees backwards, keeping a nice neutral spine throughout. You should be feeling this in the front of your trunk, in the abdominals, and nothing in your low back. The next exercise are knee stretches with added hip mobility. You're going to move your hands onto the foot bar. You're going to keep a neutral spine, engage your core, stabilize with your arm and shoulders. You're going to move your knees and your hips forwards and backwards. Perform 1 to 2 sets at 10 to 15 reps. Move your arms onto the foot bar, extending your trunk. You're going to keep a nice neutral spine. You're going to push the carriage back. You're going to hold this neutral spine as you bring your knees forwards and backwards. You're going to come forwards once, backwards once, and then bringing your whole arms and shoulders forwards. Repeat this for the remainder of the time. The next exercise are kneeling hamstring lunges. You want to keep your core engaged and your body upright. Keep your front leg vertical through the movement and your back foot firmly on the bolster. Your back is going to stay neutral throughout. Please perform 2 to 3 sets at 8 to 12 reps. Have your front foot on the foot bar and your back foot on the bolster. You're going to kick and straighten your knee on your front leg. What you should be feeling is a nice hamstring stretch on your front leg and a quad stretch on your back leg. Keep your spine neutral throughout. Perform half of the reps on your left and then switch over onto your right. Moving on to chariots, keep your knees on the bolster at all times. Your knees away from the bolster to make it more challenging. You're going to keep your core engaged. You're going to have a neutral and upright spine. You're going to slowly pull back the straps and maintain constant tension throughout. Please perform 1 to 2 sets at 10 to 12 reps. Facing the straps on the reformer, have your knees against the bolsters. You're going to pull the straps back behind you, ensuring that you keep the tension on the straps throughout and ensuring you do not go too fast. Keep your spine neutral and your chest nice and upright throughout. Moving on to abdominal knee tucks. Again, keep your core engaged throughout to allow for maximal activation. You're going to pull your knees towards your chest. You're not going to use your arms to pull knees. Perform 2 to 3 sets at 10 to 15 reps. You're going to drop the springs down to 1 to 2 springs. You're going to move your hands onto the railing above the headrest. You want to keep your hands, elbows and shoulders in the same place throughout. Keeping a nice neutral spine, you're going to tuck and bring forward your knees forwards and backwards. Next exercise is scooters. You're going to stand up. You're going to have a slight bend at your knees. Push backward with your non-standing leg, maintaining a nice neutral spine. Perform 1 to 2 sets at 15 to 20 reps on each leg. Standing up with your foot near the foot bar and the other leg on the edge of the reformer, you're going to bend your front knee slightly into a squat position. You're going to push back your back leg straight while keeping a nice neutral spine throughout. Moving on to the next exercise, rotational Palov. You're going to maintain a kneeling position. You're going to keep your back straight and upright and control the movement throughout. Perform 1 to 2 sets at 15 to 20 reps. Kneeling facing the side of the reformer, you're going to grab the strap closest to your knees. You're going to start on a low position and you're going to pull the straps into a high position on the opposite side. You should be feeling this through your trunk as you keep your core nice and activated. Moving on to hip slides, you're going to stand tall with one foot on the moving reformer and one on the stationary reformer. You're going to keep your core engaged and control the movement throughout. You're going to perform 1 to 2 sets at 10 to 12 reps on each leg. Have one leg on the non-moving part on the reformer and one leg on the edge of the moving part of the reformer. You're going to push your feet apart. You should be feeling this in the side of your hips and in your glutes.